After a year of extreme weather that brought home the reality of the climate crisis for many, world leaders, heads of business and civil society members will descend on the Egyptian resort town of Sharm el-Sheikh for the United Nations Climate Conference COP27 in an effort to prevent a climate catastrophe. But what is COP27? Why is it being billed a make-or-break conference, and why should it matter to you? The term COP27 means Conference of the Parties. At a landmark environmental conference in Rio de Janeiro in 1992, 3 conventions were set up. One on biodiversity, one on desertification, and one on climate change. But the term COP has come to be associated with the meetings of one particular committee, one that was created after the signing of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change entered into force on the 21st of March 1994. Today, ratified by 198 countries, it has near universal membership. The parties are the close to 200 countries that signed up to the original UN Climate Agreement in 1992. In an extension of this agreement, the world's nations in 2015 agreed on tackling global warming and cutting greenhouse gas emissions in what is now known as the 2015 Paris Accord. The overreaching objective is to halve global greenhouse emissions by 2030 and reach net zero by 2050 to keep warming below 1.5 degrees Celsius as recommended by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. So why are COP meetings important? The world is warming because of emissions produced by humans, mostly from burning fossil fuels like oil, gas, and coal. If temperatures rise 1.8 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, the IPCC estimates that half of the world's population could be exposed to life-threatening heat and humidity. Last year's COP26, which marked 5 years since the signing of the Paris Agreement, culminated in the Glasgow Climate Pact, which kept the goal of curbing global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius alive. Countries agreed to deliver stronger commitments this year, including updated national plans with more ambitious targets. However, only 24 out of 193 countries have submitted the plans to the UN so far. This will be the 5th time a COP has been hosted in Africa. The region's governments hope it will draw attention to the severe impacts of climate change on the continent. Expectations are high for countries to deliver clear signals of progress on cutting greenhouse gases, referred to as mitigation implementation. Climate finance, the elephant that never leaves the negotiation room, will be a top theme once again at COP27. Finance has long been an issue at the climate talks. In 2009, developed countries committed to give $100 billion a year by 2020 to developing countries to help them reduce emissions and prepare for climate change. However, there was no agreement on a plan for how to deliver this funding. But African leaders are also likely to call for a formal recognition that they should be allowed to develop their fossil fuel reserves, arguing that the continent has the right to use its fossil fuel riches to develop, just like rich nations have done for hundreds of years. If COP26 was focused on the what, COP27 looks set to focus much more on the how, moving to bridge the gap between promises to curb greenhouse emissions and on-the-ground action. Michelle Ngele Odhiambo, K24 TV.